6A, adding and subtracting rational numbers. Today our objective is to add and subtract decimals. A quick refresher of integer rules. If we're adding and subtracting integers, well, just adding. If we're adding integers, they're both positive or both negative. We add, and then we keep the sign. Same sign. Opposite signs, so one's positive and one's negative, we subtract bigger minus smaller, and we take the sign of the bigger one. Remember, that's the bigger absolute value. Decimal rules are exactly the same. We're just working with decimals instead. To add decimals, we line up the decimal vertically. We add zeros if necessary so that they have the same number of digits. We add as normal and insert the decimal where it lines up in the end. So for example, negative 3.5 plus negative 4.25. I'm going to line them up. Line up my decimal. I notice that I have one less digit on the top, so I insert a 0. They have the same sign, so I'm going to be adding the two numbers. 0 plus 5 makes 5. 5 plus 2 makes 7. 3 plus 4 makes 7. My decimal lines up right below it. Since both of my numbers were negatives, my answer is negative 7.75. For letter B, I notice that one is positive and one is negative. Negative 3.5 plus 4.25. I have more positives, so I'm going to take the bigger number minus the smaller number. I notice that I'm missing a digit, so I add a 0. Now we subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. I have to borrow for the 2. 4 becomes a 3. My 2 becomes a 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. 3 minus 3 is 0. Insert my decimal. I had more positives, so my answer is positive 0.75. Now to practice. You try these two on your own. All right, I will line up my numbers. Since they're both negatives, they have the same sign. It doesn't matter which one is on top. 6.25 and 8.55. These two even have the same number of digits, so I don't have to add any zeros. 5 plus 5 makes 10. Carry my 1. 2 plus 5 is 7. Plus 1 makes 8. 6 plus 8 is 14. My decimal lines right up. They're both negatives, so my answer is negative 14.80, or just negative 14.8. For letter B, you should have noticed that they were opposite signs. I take the bigger one, for 5.35, minus the smaller one, 1.25. I don't have to add any zeros because they have the same number of digits. 5 minus 5 is 0. 3 minus 2 is 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. My decimal line's right up. I had more negatives, so my answer is negative 4.10, or just negative 4.1. Now, to remember to subtract rational numbers, we add the opposites of the second number. So we're going to change these problems just like we changed the subtraction problems when we worked with integers. We keep the first number the same, 4.86. We change the minus to a plus, and we change the sign of the second number, so negative 5.79 becomes just 5.79. At this point, I have positive and negative, so I take my bigger, 5.79, minus my smaller, 4.68. I get 1, 1, 1, and my decimal, I had more positives, so my answer is 1.11. Try these two. For A, the first step is to rewrite it. The first number stays the same. The minus becomes a plus, and the negative becomes a positive on the second number. Now we're going to line them up. It doesn't matter which one's on top because they're both positives, and I'm just going to add. 5 and 7 is 12. 3 and 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. 4 and 8 is 12. Add my decimal. They were both positives, so my answer is just 12.62. For B, I keep my first number the same, negative 13.45. Change my minus to a plus. Change my second number to its opposite, so the 12.25 becomes a negative. Now they are both negative, so I'm just going to add them. 13.45 plus 12.25. We're going to add those together. 5 and 5 makes 10. 7, 5, 2. Add my decimal point. Since both numbers were negatives, my final answer is negative 25.70. Now an application problem. The temperature was 3.5 degrees Celsius at noon and negative 2.7 degrees Celsius at 6. Find the change in temperatures. To find a change in temperatures, the first number is what I finished with, so negative 2.7. Change means minus the original, which was 3.5. To do this, we change our minus to a plus, so the first number stays the same. The minus becomes a plus. The second number becomes its opposite, so that becomes negative 3.5. Now I have two negatives, so I'm just going to add 2.7 plus 3.5. We have 6.2, and I just put my negative sign on the end. Negative 6.2, the word problem, it's in degrees Celsius. Your assignment is the adding and subtracting decimals worksheet.